my uncle's BMW. Now, my uncle he's done all right in life. He's got a reasonable amount of money. He's worked his way up the car ladder, and every few years he goes and gets a new car. And he goes into the BMW salesman, the showroom, and he says to the salesman, "How much is that 530 over there?" And the guy says, "Well, it's £30,000, sir." And he goes, "Brilliant, I'll have it." And he pays the full price for the BMW. That's what I want to talk to you about. Why would you pay the full price for the BMW? Now, it might be that you have a belief that they won't negotiate, but how do you know unless you try? So he should at least have a go, shouldn't he? Now, we know that how much you're getting off a BMW, probably 1 or 2 thousand easily, possibly up to 5,000 if they're keen to sell that particular one. So we're talking a large amount of money that he could get. And how long will it take him to get, let's say 2,000, let's be really conservative, let's say £2,000 off. I reckon he could do that in 10 minutes. But if we're really conservative, we say it takes half an hour of toing and froing and asking the boss to get the 2,000 off. That's still £4,000 an hour. That's still £15,000 a day. What is that in weekly? I mean, I don't know, that's getting on for 100 grand a week, isn't it? And that's huge. 100 grand a week, that's massive. What wouldn't you do for 100 grand a week? I definitely would negotiate with a BMW salesman for 100 grand a week. So the argument that it's a bit unpleasant doesn't seem like a very good argument to me. But I think that is the reason. I think the reason why people like my uncle avoid negotiating is because they don't want to look cheap, and they also don't want to have the embarrassment of failure. Because there is a chance they're going to say, "Oh, I can't afford the 30." And the BMW salesman might say, "Well, in that case, sir can have a 120, or sir can go down the road to the Ford garage." And there is a risk he's going to have to go, "Oh, well, all right then, I'll pay." And the BMW salesman going, "I knew you would." So there is that risk. If only you could overcome that pride, though, that fear of looking bad and having to crumble and having to pay the full price. Because don't worry, we're going to get the car, whatever. It's just a question of whether we have to pay the full price or not. So you might have to crumble and go, "Oh, all right, I'll pay it." But if you have to crumble half the time, it's still worth it for the other half when you get thousands of pounds off. So I think one thing is to think of it as a game, but the other thing is to just think about your pride for a moment, because it does kind of feel good to go in and pay the full price. But actually, what do the BMW people think? Do they think, "God, he's a good guy. He can pay the full price for the car. He's a real man"? I doubt it. I suspect they look at you when you come in and they think, "Well, here he comes." They probably think that you're a mug if you pay the full price. So I suspect that my uncle is probably paying an extra £3,000 to be thought of as a mug. Now, I did ask him once, "Have you ever thought about negotiating?" And he said, "No, you get what you pay for." But if you think about that, it's the same car. Clearly, if you buy a more expensive type of car, you're getting a better car usually. So you do get what you pay for in terms of paying more. But if we're talking about negotiating rather than buying different cars, you're getting the same car for a cheaper price. So the argument "you get what you pay for" doesn't really stack up unless you're talking about maintenance. Now, is it possible that you'll get worse service if you're a negotiator? Is it possible there's going to be a little mark on their computer that says, "Didn't pay the full price. Better put a second-hand exhaust when you service his exhaust one day"? I don't think so. I think the service department have standards that they stick to. Also, they don't know what you paid for the car. I don't think the two have communication about that kind of thing. But even if the service department knew you hadn't paid the full price, what's going to happen? Let's suppose they've got to let down two people, right? There's my uncle, who's incredibly nice, and then there's Mr. Tough Negotiator Man. And they're going to have to let down one of them and keep his car in overnight, right? They haven't got time to fix both of them this afternoon. Who will they let down? And I suspect they will let down my uncle. And they'll say, "Sorry, we couldn't finish your car." He'll go, "That's okay. I'll walk home in the rain without my car." Because if you let the tough negotiator down, he's going to go, "Oh, well, that's a problem. I need it in the morning. You'll have to lend me a 6 Series convertible." And it's just going to be pain. So it's much easier for them to let down the nice guy. So I think my uncle is paying an extra £3,000 to get worse service and to be thought of as a mug. So please overcome your pride. Tell yourself that you won't look bad if you negotiate. You'll probably look good. And anyway, it's only a game. So it doesn't really matter. And God, it's worth playing that game for 3,000 quid in half an hour, isn't it?